So that tells you that this all in and all out 2 week apart has been a disaster. Booking to have two major pay-per-views that close to each other, it was just a bad mistake. And how are you going to book unless you rebook rematches? But that's not exciting because then you're just pissing on the Chicago crowd that's been there from day one. What's going on, everyone? Jim Alexander here with Real Talker. And yes, All In is upon us. And the 2024 version of All In, the second year in a row from London, England. It's got a pretty decent card, not the best. I mean, for their premier pay per view, I feel like the cards have been getting worse and worse for a while now for AEW. But some really intriguing matches, actually. And of course, I'm going to give you predictions for them and some shockers because you know there's going to be big surprises. Last year was Mercedes Monet being in the stands and some other little surprises along the way. Well, a lot of things happened actually that changed the course of AEW, such as the CM Punk Jack Perry thing. And yeah, a lot that happened at this show had backstage significance. So, is there going to be significance here? Is there going to be debuts? I got some predictions for you, and let's go match by match. I won't stick around, be overly breaking this down. Just kind of give a general overview of what I expect to happen. So, like I said, the card's decent. Let's go from top, from bottom to top, I guess. Save the best for last. Pre-show: Chris Statlander and Stokely Hathaway versus Willow Nightingale and Tomohiro Ishii. Okay. Mixed gender tag team match. Willow and Statlander have been feuding for a bit. I'm glad this one's a pre-match show because this is just kind of fodder. Expect probably the faces to go over here in Willow Nightingale and Ishii and probably be kind of messy, especially with Stokely Hathaway and Ishii's like a billion years old. So nothing, I don't know. I mean, thankfully, like I said, it's a pre-show match and it's nothing major, but yeah, this definitely would have been a bad match to have on a card like this had it been on a main card. So that's it for that. Not wasting time on it. Okay, this one could be interesting. Four-way ladder match for the AEW Trios Championship. The Patriarchy, which is Christian Cage, Killswitch, Nick Wayne, versus the Bang Bang Gang. Yeah, I try not to confuse it with Gang Bang Gang. Okay, or Gang Bang, whatever. What a weird name for this group, Bang Bang Gang. Juice Robinson, Austin Gunn, Colton Gunn. And so yeah, Bang Bang Gang. And then versus House of Black, Malachi Black, Brody King, and Buddy Matthews. And then versus Pac and the Blackpool Combat Club. Is Blackpool Combat Club really even alive? Like, I feel like it's been on its deathbed for a while. Like, you don't have the main guys and Moxley and Danielson, they veered off. If it's Claudio and Wheeler Utah, that's not much of a team there. And yeah, so they're keeping the name alive probably just to sell merch, but that is not a significant team. Here, what I expect, the champions of Nick Cage, Nick Cage, that would have been fun. Nick Wayne and Christian Cage. See, we have a Nick Cage here if you combine their names. And Killswitch, the champions coming into this. I don't see Blackpool Mishmash Combat Club with Pac winning this because it'd just be weird. Randomly, Pac's added to this. The House of Black already did this and kept it, so I don't see a reason for them to really regain it. Had these titles and really wouldn't do much for them. The Bang Bang Gang, I guess you could put the titles on them, but I just don't see it. I think the best served thing to do here is to keep the titles on the Patriarchy. Christian Cage is doing probably one of his best work of his career, and they're over, and there's no reason to take the titles off of them. Keep the heels hot. So I think that's what they're going to do, and Patriarchy retains. The three-way tag match for the AEW Tag Team Championships, the Young Bucks, Matthew and Nicholas Jackson, and their annoying role currently, but kind of true to life. The Claimed, Bowens, and Caster, and then FTR, Dax Harwood, and Cash Wheeler. So we know those guys. This has been kind of the top three tag teams of in AEW for a while now. And the Young Bucks are champions. I don't know if FTR needs these titles. They've had a long run with them. I think the Claimed lost some steam. I mean, they were white hot and completely just over in All Out in Chicago a couple years back when they should have won it and they didn't. And the momentum's kind of died out for the Acclaimed. I feel like they're still there. They still get pops, but not like when they were completely over the first time they were supposed to win it. I think they need some juice, no pun intended. And yeah, Juice Robinson's not in this team. But I think they should get this win here. I think it would mean the most for him. I don't think the Young Bucks really need the titles with their gimmick and all. And I think that I will roll with Bowens and Caster getting this title. Do I think it's going to happen? I'd say it's 50-50. It's either them or the Young Bucks retaining. But I'm going to go for a surprise here and Bowens and Caster winning the championships because it helps them the most. Now, coffin match for the AEW TNT Championship, Jack Perry versus Darby Allin. These are two of the pillars of AEW. This is going to be high wire, fast paced. Jack Perry's been probably doing his best work also in a while. I think when he was in with tag teaming with Luchasaurus, it just, it run its course. And then we had a heel turn, but that wasn't really working. But now this, Jack Perry, the GOAT and the, the returning Jack Perry after his incident at last year's All In has been different. And I kind of like this turn of Jack Perry, kind of more a brooding and, more intense version. But Darby Allin in a coffin match, I like it here. I think they should keep the title on Jack Perry, but I think Darby Allin wins this. I think they want to push him. From the reports are out there. I think he's going to have a little bit of a run with the AEW TNT Championship and then probably lose it back again to Perry. And that might catapult Allen into the world title contention. So we'll see. Depends who's the champion in that. But I have Darby Allin winning this one and winning the title. Now, the Casino Gauntlet for the future AEW Championship. You have a lot of potential contenders here that could come out here that could use a world title shot. And I think it's time for some of these guys that they've had here for a while that they haven't really utilized to have a lot of potential. For me, coming to mind is someone like Hobbs, right? I think he's world champion material, but really hasn't gotten the shot at it. And I don't think they announced who's going to be in this Casino Gauntlet. So surprise, surprise. I guess we'll see who's there. But I think a good winner would be Hobbs. Could be one guy you could consider. I mean, some of them are confirmed. For example, Orange Cassidy, he's number one. Mark Briscoe, no. Cassidy, no. He shouldn't have a title shot. Kyle O'Reilly, no, because of he kind of lost steam after he debuted. Roderick Strong, no. Evil Uno, what the hell is he even doing in this match? Why is this guy even on the paper? He's a complete jobber. Ridiculous. Dustin Rhodes, I mean, he should be retiring any day now. Matt Taven, Bennett, filler guys. I don't like this confirmed lineup for the Gauntlet entrance unless there's going to be more. Like I said, where's Hobbs? Where's some of these up and coming guys that they put a stop on? I mean, Ricky Starks would have been great for a world title chance, but he might be on his way out of the company. But there's so much talent kind of sitting around. And to mention also Hangman Adam Page is also in this. He's the most logical winner of this. I mean, this is not a good list. This is a really low level list of contenders here. It's kind of crazy that we're talking about Evil Uno or Roderick Strong or Dustin Rhodes on his last legs competing for a world title shot. And Orange Cassidy's just no, he's just there's levels he cannot get to, and world title is one of them. That would be a disaster. Um, but Hangman Adam Page coming back, recently have a new pissed off gimmick that he's out for everyone and everything. And I think if you want to get him back to the title stage, at least it's doable. You could do a feud with him and, you know, whether it be Danielson or Swerve. I mean, that's a story that's already written there, especially the Swerve one. I could see this totally happening. So if we're going by logic, Hangman versus Swerve again, that would kind of make sense, but we've seen that already. Do we recreate this? I think that's lazy booking. But I think Page wins this unless they announce someone else. Should have been a lot of other guys that are not here um, in contention for whatever reason that they should be, but that's a waste. Like I said, I would have preferred someone like Hobbs, getting that opportunity, but obviously, or even if you want to really move up someone like Hook, who hasn't gotten that chance, that could be your chance right there, but they're not doing that either. So it's one of those things where, you can only do so much when you're not showing guys off, right? Omega, where's Kenny in this title picture? I mean, he would be, I guess, warranted of another run potentially, but it just, I don't like the list here. But I mentioned Hook, and yes, Hook is in a match here, and he's going against Chris Jericho in a long going feud right now. That's been kind of going on for a while here. Jericho and Hook for the esteemed the title that no one really wants, the made up title here, the FTW championship. I think it's clear here Hook goes over. Last chance match. They've been building this. Jericho does not need this title. See, I don't know if it's legit. They're treating it as like a legit title, but it's not. It makes sense to Hook get a big win over Jericho here on a big pay-per-view, get this title back and where it belongs from his father, and go over here. So I see Hook going over in this match, and you need to keep pushing Hook because a loss would do a lot of damage here if he can't get over Jericho, and there's no reason for Jericho to hold this title. Now, AEW TBS Championship, Mercedes Moné, Britt Baker, the big talked about kind of match. I guess this could be sort of the co-main event in a way of this pay-per-view. I think there's three potential co-main events. We're going to get to other two in a bit, but this is a big money match, big name match. I just don't see them having Mercedes Moné drop the TBS championship to Britt Baker. Baker has not held the TBS championship. She's coming back. I think they're going to keep on milking Moné with this title. Although it's kind of a weird title for her to hold, I still view that as a secondary title, and it is. It's not the women's championship. So, but I think they're just trying to make it seem more prestigious with Moné holding on to it. But that's what I expect to happen. Moné getting sort of a cheating win here with some help over Britt Baker to continue this feud. I think that feud's not over, and it shouldn't be because I think it's fresh and new, and these are your two top potential name brand women in this company. So should be actually a pretty solid match. But Monet retains here. I think that's pretty apparent. Now, let's get into the other AEW Women's Championship match. Toni Storm, Mariah May. They've been building this one for a while, and it's been one of the best builds going on in AEW. Subtle build with Mariah May and Toni Storm, and their friendship, and Mariah May being her lackey in a sense, and her assistant, and sort of going through this Owen Hart Cup and winning it to get this title. I actually think it made the Owen Hart Cup mean something when you have winners challenging for the title. I think that was a smart thing they did this year, because before it just didn't really make sense. You get a Owen Hart championship or cup or tournament, but the prestige needs to amount to something like a championship title. So they did well with this. This is going to be a good one. I think we'll finally see what Mariah May is made out of going in there in a ring with Toni Storm, who can really work well. Um, I feel it's a time. I feel it's Mariah May's crowning moment. She's the Brit here in London, from London. I think she goes over in this match and beats Toni Storm and kind of turn this whole story and build full circle in that way. And I think Tony Starr's held it for a while, multiple times. I don't think she's over with her gimmick, timeless Tony Storm. So I don't think she needs it. Mariah May does need it because she's been basically kind of underutilized. The hype of getting her in, to AEW, and I'm sure they promised her a title run. So I think this comes here in England, and they build it well. So I expect that one to go that way for sure. Now, the other potential co-main event I mentioned could have been, might be, is the American Championship, formerly the international title. MJF versus Will Ospreay. I'm expecting this to be a banger. I'm excited to see these two. The build's been pretty good too, leading up to it, with MJF going back to full heel. Ospreay oddly, came into the company as a face, and he's been always a really good heel. I kind of like heel Ospreay, but he also gets over as a face. So the guy can work. MJF can work too. Two different styles for sure, but it's going to be exciting. Anyone who gets in with Ospreay, and MJF can go. So, I mean, these two guys are good workers, great guys, especially MJF on a mic, who's been, at the center of this feud, taking the heat. This has been fun. I'm excited for this. I actually wish this was the AEW Championship match. I think that would have been really exciting instead of the American one. I think this has the billing for it to be a world title match had they done it, but it is a big stage. It is all in. So MJF, Will Ospreay back home. I think Ospreay wins it. I think he goes over, gets that American Championship, wins on home turf, and because MJF doesn't really need a secondary title at all, especially if he's gone full blown heel, and he's going to be back in the championship, world title picture probably in no time. I expect him to be. So I think Ospreay gets over somehow, picks up a big win. Ospreay's been actually kind of he needs one, losing to Swerve. I mean, he's still built very strong throughout, but I think he needs a victory, a big victory, and this is the one against MJF here. And yeah, that should be a really good one. I think that's gonna be match of the night. Most exciting, fun, and cool. And then the AEW World Championship, Swerve Strickland, Bryan Danielson, title versus career. That should be a good one because we know Swerve can go, and Bryan Danielson is one of the best in the business. Now, you expect, okay, Danielson's been really going on record, not wanting the world title, not wrestling for the world title, really putting guys over since he came into AEW. So this is his first really big opportunity for the AEW World Championship. Swerve's been a mediocre champion. He's been okay. He still doesn't feel like an AEW World Champion to me. I mean, he's been pushed well, and I think he's done the best he could. He's just not ultimately over as world champion material. Like Swerve would be a great American champion and that sort of level, right beyond. I mean, he is. I could see him as a main event player, but there's a level between main event player and world champion. And I think his championship reign has been kind of mediocre at best. His matches haven't been, opponents too. I mean, he's faced Joe, he's faced Hangman. Now Danielson, he had Ospreay. So he's had a decent mix of guys to work with, but it's just kind of been underwhelming. I think they can do better as a world champion. I think Danielson, with all this talk of retirement and his contract being up, I think it's a swerve, no pun intended, actually, that he actually comes out and wins that title. I think it would be weird for him to leave AEW. It just seems like too likely, right? From the build of it and everything, that Danielson would just kind of fade into the sunset and leave without winning the championship ever in this company. And this actually being his last match, I think he's probably got a contract extension to run through the end of the year, which makes sense. Kind of end it at the end of the year, and that's it. Call it quits then. I think there's still a few big pay-per-views they can really use them and do a title run with. Like, hey, you have all out in 2 weeks after. So you got to do something. I just think it would be lazy booking to do Swerve versus Hangman Page, would make sense because it's the build is already there. There's history there, but I think who wants to see Swerve versus Hangman headline All Out? We've seen that. We've seen it recently, and it just not. Both guys aren't over anymore as main event caliber sort of dudes. So I don't want to see that, and I think we might be going that direction. I think it's easy to book that. But I guess the surprise here, I guess maybe one of them is that I think Danielson wins, overcomes. It's a legitimate guy for Swerve to lose to. Danielson goes on a little, short title run for a few months and then, you know, puts it away. Maybe to gives it to Osprey, whoever beats him for it. I don't see Danielson having the title long, but I think they're going to give him a little run here to end his career. It just makes sense that way too. So booking wise, it makes sense for Swerve to win because then you got to build a card for All Out in 2 weeks, and that's already at least a built-in storyline. You have to start from scratch, and that kind of validates Hangman Page winning the Casino Gauntlet. It kind of all comes together and works. But I just think that's lazy booking and it's just like filler and stuff that would not excite a Chicago crowd in a market that's been the hottest, best market for AEW that's been dying and has been dying quick. I live here and there's plenty of tickets left for All Out. And that's shocking. And they're at low prices because in the past, they would sell out in a day or two. Especially they're going back to the Now Arena where they went from United Center to a much smaller arena, and they're still not selling tickets. So that tells you that this All In and All Out 2 week apart has been a disaster. Booking to have two major pay-per-views that close to each other, it was just a bad mistake. And how are you going to book unless you rebook rematches? But that's not exciting because then you're just pissing on the Chicago crowd that's been there from day one. But I think that way, it'd be easy, lazy booking, but you can't. You got to give something fresh for the Chicago crowd. That's why, even though it makes sense on the surface how this would mean Swerve wins, and then, Danielson's been putting over anyone. Danielson rides off in the sunset at All In, on the biggest pay-per-view of the year of theirs. But I think Danielson wins here, has a title run, and yeah, kind of gets that pat on the back for being a good soldier and really holding them down when they went through some bad times with CM Punk and controversies. Brian Danielson's been a stability there. It'd be weird for him to never win that title, I feel like. I think Tony sort of owes it to him. So Danielson wins. Now, shockers. What shockers can we expect at All In? There's going to be some kind of debut. I think it's not much of a shocker to know that Ricochet is going to show face and debut it All In. Now, does he interfere in a match? I could see him interfering potentially in the Will Ospreay match. I think that's kind of a dream match. Both of them been talking about working. Ricochet coming in at heel, I find him as a face, at least coming into AEW. He's never been a good heel, but as a face, I think you got to start him out. So maybe that's not an option then. Does he get that entry in a Casino Gauntlet and wins it and gets that shot? That'd be quick. And you're really then banking on Ricochet being a top guy. But I think they're banking on him being a main eventer. I think Ricochet comes in and is entered into Casino match and wins it, actually. That's my kind of shocker. Aside from the Adam Page, if they go the standard route, Adam Page wins. If they go for a shocking route, Ricochet debuts in a Casino Gauntlet match and wins it and gets that AEW title shot. Potentially, I'm guessing the title shot's probably coming in All Out. Makes sense. Got something to book there. So Ricochet winning, Ricochet versus Swerve would be kind of an interesting fun match, but Ricochet versus Danielson, interesting too, for All Out. So I see that's my first big shocker. Ricochet debuts. We know that's going to happen, but at the Gauntlet and wins the Gauntlet match. Now, the big shocker I expect to happen. Usually we have some returns or debuts. I think we're getting a debut. And the debut we're getting is Shane McMahon. I think this is happening. I really feel that whole thing coming out recently, Shane being spotted with Tony, not a coincidence. They're not just talking about like, hey, how's your company doing? Cool. No, no, they're planning something. There was contracts probably that were signed there and big plans. And what biggest reveal to have in All In is to have Shane McMahon end the show coming out and completely having the huge stadium, all the Brits lose their mind with Shane McMahon stepping foot at an AEW arena and ring. I think that should end the show. Maybe Danielson celebrating, and then bam, music hits. Shane comes out and sort of announcing that he is now all elite. Maybe in a commissioner role. I don't see him as being in a wrestler role. Maybe he could do some fighting and have some feuds, but I think he's best off in a commissioner role, kind of overtaking the Young Bucks run of EVPs and kind of running things. It makes sense that they finally have some stability and a face, and that would be Shane McMahon in a sort of commissioner GM role. It makes sense to me to use him as an on-screen character. I'm sure he's doing stuff behind the scenes too if he struck a deal with Tony, but with the potential of getting in the ring at some point. But that would absolutely blow off the roof. That's not even there at Wembley, but it would be amazing. That would be a buzz, 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 buzz. That would really have everyone talking in the wrestling community and probably even mainstream media. Shane McMahon ending the show, not early, not middle of the show. You need to end it with a bang. And I think Shane McMahon is going to be that shock at All In, his debut. And that would absolutely be nuts because I feel like Danielson winning is a nice wrap and ending, but damn, Shane McMahon coming out right after. Holy man. We've seen these moments. We've had these debuts at the end of shows. Danielson debuted that way, right? Adam Cole too debuted at All In. Not All Out, actually. Man, All In, All Out. It's confusing. All Out in Chicago. But man, would that be something. Shane McMahon. So that's my big prediction. No, not Becky Lynch. I know that could be another major shocker if Becky Lynch was. I just don't see her. That would be like hell has frozen over. Shane McMahon is also, but there's some semblance of that, right? We've seen the pictures. The rumors are true that they've been, that Tony and him have made contact and been seen together. Becky Lynch, her husband, maybe if her husband wasn't wrestling in WWE, but she has everything she needs in WWE. I just don't see her. Just see her taking a break, but not seeing her going to AEW. I don't think she would burn that WWE bridge. It would make things really awkward for her husband too. I think that is really a 5% chance Becky Lynch debuts. It would be stunning, but I even think even a Becky Lynch debut, it wouldn't be as huge as Shane McMahon. I mean, we're talking about a McMahon in AEW. That would you can't go any bigger than that in terms of shock value. Even if it was Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch, great, one of the top women wrestlers in the world, most recognizable ones. But does she move the needle in a sort of below average women's division AEW? I mean, yeah, sure, you have the feuds with Britt Baker, Sasha Banks, but is she going to be main eventing all shows? No. So it's got to be Shane McMahon. He can absolutely change the course of AEW. Really could. Just like the Punk thing happened last year. I think this year the change of course in AEW is Shane McMahon. So book it. That's my prediction. That's my shocker. Ricochet and Shane McMahon. Ricochet winning the gauntlet and Shane McMahon making his debut. What do you guys think? Do you agree? Do you think there's truth to it? What do you expect from All In? Let me know in the comment section, but also make sure to subscribe. Just takes a click of a button. Come on, you guys can do it. And it actually helps me do these things. So subscribe. And if you like this, if you agree or disagree, make sure to comment, but also give me a thumbs up. Click that like button in there. But yes, let me know what you think. I'm actually looking forward to this pay-per-view, not just based on a card, but based on a potential what can come out of it. And I think since this is their last year, at least in the next 2 years being in London doing this All In pay-per-view, I think they're going to do something major, and I think that's a major thing. It would be disappointing if they didn't. They need some momentum. They've been going backwards. WWE's been on fire, white hot. I mean, it just AEW needs to do something to gain some sort of attention, steam appeal because they've been on the down slope going fast for a while. Just has nothing's been hitting. And this could be a potential here. A Shane thing could change the game. It really could. So let me know and subscribe, and I will see you after All Out. Uh, yeah, I'll be at All Out in Chicago, but All In, I'm probably going to do another video previewing All Out. So All In, all man, just change these names. They're so confusing, especially since these papers are so close apart. All right, but until next time, I'll see you guys.